Today on Ol Pejeta Diaries, the primate sanctuary makes room for one more victim of the illegal bushmeat trade.
From about age 3, he was kept in a small cage, about 1 meter cube.
Will this battered and abused chimp survive the transition to his new home? And it may look more like a skunk than a monkey, but it's set to make its return to Ol Pejeta.
So it's just one little step to bringing back what used to be here.
Now Batian and his team pin their hopes for bringing them back on just 3 monkeys.
Very stressed having just been brought in.
It's just another busy week in the life of a Kenyan game reserve. Nestled in the shadows of Mount Kenya, Ol Pejeta Conservancy resembles a scaled-down version of Tanzania's famed Serengeti, with its open plains, acacia tree woodlands, and incredible diversity of animals. Most of Kenya's indigenous wildlife can be found here, from all of Africa's big cats and common predators to elephant, giraffe, and the extremely rare and endangered black rhino. But in the acacia forests nestled along the banks of the Ewaso River, one animal species has vanished from Ol Pejeta, a victim of a changing world. The Colobus monkey is thriving in 2 high-altitude forests alongside of Ol Pejeta, Mount Kenya National Park, and to the southwest, the Aberdares mountain range. Connecting the 2 populations are a series of rivers that flow right through Ol Pejeta. The rivers were surrounded by forests. Today, those corridors are gone, and so too is the Colobus monkey in Ol Pejeta. The last sighting was more than 5 years ago. Batian Craig is the Wildlife and Security Manager at Ol Pejeta. His job is to oversee the wildlife operations in the Conservancy. The success that Ol Pejeta has had in maintaining and reviving various species is due to the work of Batian and his team. Now Batian wants to bring the Colobus monkeys back to Ol Pejeta.
Okay, we've got quite an exciting little project going together with Mount Kenya Game Ranch on reintroducing some Colobus monkeys. They've got an extremely successful sort of breeding program, and they're now looking for places to reintroduce Colobus where they existed previously. They used to be here due to sort of human factors, more outside Ol Pejeta than inside. Sadly, they're no longer here. So it's just one little step to bringing back what used to be here.
This is not the first time Ol Pejeta has reintroduced a native species. The first was the black rhino. Today they have the largest black rhino breeding program in East Africa. The Colobus reintroduction will be on a much smaller scale. 3 captively bred Colobus monkeys will be released into the wild as an experiment to see if proper breeding groups can survive along the Ewaso River. It's a small operation, but it poses its own unique challenges.
We'll bring them here, probably hold them in a small sort of holding pen to begin with, just about a 3-week period, just until they've settled, know the vegetation that we're feeding them, and can essentially call it sort of home and a safe haven that they can run back to at night if they need to. Being predator naive is always a worry. It wouldn't take a lot for a leopard to pounce on one.
In order to protect the new arrivals, Ol Pejeta will build a structure that will first house the Colobus, and then after they are released will provide a safe refuge from predators. Before work gets underway, Batian meets up with wildlife manager Donald Bungi to look at the orphanage's cage configurations for the Colobus. Donald has worked closely with the 3 monkeys, and he knows every detail needed to build an enclosure to keep them safe.
You'll be amazed if you give them variety of fruits and potatoes. They'll go for potatoes first. Yeah.
He also has insight into what they should be eating while they're in captivity. Batian meets the orphanage's pet Colobus. Although this monkey has taken a liking to Batian, he will not be going to Ol Pejeta.
But being reintroduced, you wouldn't want them that tame, would you?
No, you want that. No,
You want
not
that the wild element back to
Exactly.
them.
The orphanage currently has 27 Colobus monkeys. The ones that Batian is taking to Ol Pejeta have been raised in captivity. It will be the first time that a group of captively bred monkeys from the orphanage have been returned to the wild together. The orphanage has been in operation for nearly 35 years.
Where now you are studying in the Mount Kenya Animal Orphanage for orphans, injured or abandoned animals. We keep endangered species like the bongos. So I will show you all animals we have here. Yeah. Okay, here we have Mr. Romeo. We have Mr. Romeo and Juliet, the porcupines. Those two porcupines, we find them from the wild. This is Mr. Speedy Gonzalez. He is over 100 years old. And over 100 is the teenager age because they live between 250 up to 300 years. He was living in a small island without enough food. We have the bongos here, male and female bongo. And here in our country, we have less than 100 left because they used to be poached for the skin and meat. This is a female one here. She's looking for food. We have another female there, Malaika. They are both girls.
Back at Ol Pejeta, Batian is checking out the progress on the Colobus's new home.
Okay, we started the building of the little boma for the Colobus that we're bringing in. It's pretty small, it's only 4 meters by 4 meters, but the reason we've done this is they're only going to be in it for 3 weeks. But, you know, we just want them to get familiar with here. As soon as they're familiar with here, we'll let them out as quickly as possible. What we're doing here is digging a trench. It's 1.5 feet, just so the wire mesh can go underground. We'll then peg that in and put stone on the outside, just so that nothing can get either under or out.
Ol Pejeta Conservancy in Kenya has a plan to reintroduce Colobus monkeys back into the wild of the Conservancy. The Colobus disappeared 5 years ago after part of their forest habitat was cut down to make way for neighboring farms. The new monkeys are coming from the nearby Mount Kenya Game Ranch that has a captive breeding program. Wildlife manager Batian Craig is starting small. Only 3 animals consisting of 2 males and 1 female will be introduced as a test to see if larger breeding groups can survive. Gian Schackenmann has been enlisted to drive the animals to Ol Pejeta.
Yeah, I've had 22 people in this car once. I guess only 1 Colobus fits in this one.
After a while, the trio figures it out. 2 monkeys will go with Gian, and the 3rd will go in another vehicle. Meanwhile, back at Ol Pejeta, Batian is going over the final changes on the Colobus's new enclosure.
House is strong enough.
This one here?
Yeah. They'll all be kind of trying to get in there.
No, it's just the same because there's 2 males. Apparently 2 men don't sleep with 1 woman. So we're going to have to find the other man a box.
Gian has arrived at Ol Pejeta with the Colobus monkeys. Their new home will be along the Ewaso River, next to a place known as the Hippo Hide. It's the same area the Colobus used to live when they were common to the area. The animal carriers are brought inside the enclosure so the Colobus can be safely released. There is always concern for their well-being when animals are uprooted and transported to a new location.
Hii kama niliwesaka chimpanzee ni hii kweli. Chimpanzee inakushika na kurarua kama mtoto. Mpaka unaifanya chimpanzee vizuri. Good.
The first door is opened.
Your freedom. Freedom.
Well, they're very stressed having just been brought in. But as soon as they're out, we'll move everybody off and let them settle on their own.
The second animal is released.
Freedom boy.
The final Colobus enters his cage.
This is one of the best moves we've made so far, to have them down here in a Liverine forest. I believe they will have a very nice home down here. Yeah.
The nurturing and reintroduction of species that are in distress in the wild is part of Ol Pejeta's mandate. And there is a special program at the Conservancy for primates, including the Sweetwater's Chimpanzee Sanctuary.
The sanctuary started in 1993, and the initial aim at that stage was to provide refuge for 22 chimps that were in Burundi at the Jane Goodall Institute in Burundi following the civil war that was there. But since then, we've continued receiving many chimps, that are orphaned from the bushmeat trade. To date, we're talking of 43, and from 7 different countries.
Most of the chimpanzees at Sweetwater's are rescued animals, taken as babies after their parents were killed for bushmeat and then sold on the black market live animal trade. Some of the chimps were confiscated from owners or were rescued at the airports while in transit to animal collectors in other countries.
The bushmeat trade is basically is a delicacy, and mainly within the Central and West Africa. It is illegal. It is not something that people are doing it through the right mechanism or something that is being legalized. So they're doing it in very illegal ways. And that is one of the main threats to the African apes.
Chimpanzees are not native to Kenya, but found throughout rainforests and savannas of Central and West Africa. They are classified as endangered and protected by international law under the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. It's estimated that there are only 175,000 to 300,000 chimpanzees still living in the wild. Martin believes it's important to protect them as they represent humans' closest relatives, sharing 98.6% of the human genetic code. The Sweetwater Sanctuary isn't a zoo, and it isn't a conservation success story. It's more of a humanitarian effort offering refuge to animals that have been mistreated or abused and have no other option. These animals will never be returned to the wild. The one important conservation function it does fulfill is to educate thousands of tourists who come through each year about the devastation of the bushmeat trade and the loss of habitat.
Running the sanctuary itself is very expensive. You're talking of having a proper diet for all the chimps. We've got a very clear protocols on what they eat at what time or on a daily basis. Basically, the diet composes mainly of vegetables and fruits. We also need to work with the neighboring community. So most of the food that we get from just the local community. And there's a bit that will come from regular stores in town, but a significant number. We're talking of something close to $20,000 on an annual basis that goes directly to the community.
Today is Wednesday. We are now going to town to get food for the chimpanzees.
Every Wednesday and Saturday, Charles Musasia heads into town to buy food for the chimps from both the community and the local stores.
This is the shop where we take food. It's known as Jumbo Green. greengrocer. This is Winnie. She's the one supplying food for the chimpanzees.
On Wednesday, they pick around 1,000 pieces of bananas, 800 pieces of oranges, 600 pieces of avocados, 20 kgs of potatoes, 15 kilos of peanuts, and we also supply them with apples, that's 20 kilos.
After dropping off the crates to be filled at the grocer, he goes to check on the order from the community gardens.
Come and take. So we pack them in the crates, and then after this we shall put them in the vehicle, and then up to the feeding station where we feed chimpanzees.
I have been supplying them, I think, for the last now 10 years, and I love my job.
The chimpanzees are fed 4 times a day. The first meal is a light breakfast served inside the house where they sleep. Their main meal comes at 12 noon, and they're fed outside in the larger enclosure. The chimps have to compete for food with other animal species that were trapped inside the 250-acre enclosure when it was built. The chimps don't harm the reedbucks, but constantly harass them as a source of amusement. We're in Kenya at Ol Pejeta Conservancy, where we're looking at the Sweetwater's Chimpanzee Sanctuary that houses orphans from the bushmeat trade. The chimpanzees are organized into 2 groups, one that consists of juveniles put together so they can relearn social skills lost when they were captured. The second is a family group set up to mimic chimpanzee social structures in the wild. The family group is dominated by an alpha male. New inductees usually come from the juveniles group, but on occasion older chimpanzees come to Sweetwaters, and introducing them to the main group is much more difficult.
Gashuwe was confiscated in Kigali, and I think he was a pet in his early years. But then from about age 3, he was kept in a small cage, in a cage that's about 1 meter cube.
The cage offered Gashuwe no protection from the elements. Consequently, his skin was severely damaged. The cage also had no bottom, and as a result, he would eat food contaminated with his own feces.
He came in here at a relatively advanced age. He must have been estimated to be about 10 years by the time he came here. And that's why the introduction has been a little bit difficult as compared to the other introductions that we've been doing. It's taken us close to 1 year for him to go through everybody, about 8 months. And that's when we released him out with the rest of the group.
And suffered a severe beating that required a veterinarian. It may have been spurred on because of a new baby within the group.
The mother with the baby, I think, looks at Gashuwe as a new person, an intruder, somebody who she doesn't know very well. She still doesn't have trust, so she cannot entrust him with, being anywhere near the baby. And remember that this baby has also got the grandmother here. So there's an incitement in terms of the grandmother and mother, with a few of the friends of the mother forming up a group to incite the rest to kind of attack Gashuwe.
Martin has no choice but to try again. So Gashuwe, face swollen and covered in bite marks, is going to be released into the family group again. He emerges nervously and displaying a submissive behavior. If Martin is correct, today the rest of the group will welcome him as one of their own. If he's wrong, it could have devastating consequences for Gishue.
What we've seen him doing, he was trying to make friends with the lower-ranking males first, and then he's using those ones to go with them to the high-ranking male, that's the alpha male.
First, only the lower-ranked individuals are released. Then comes the beta male and the females who were responsible for the previous attack. Despite the risk, it is necessary. Gishue can't live in solitary confinement for the rest of his life. The beta male displays his acceptance of Gishue. Now all that remains is the alpha male.
What Gishue did was to submit to the alpha male, and then the alpha male just passed and went away. He's kind of accepted, otherwise he would have been very aggressive to Gishue, knowing that he's the new male that is being, released out or being introduced. So that tells you already this Gishue has settled in this group very well.
That's very good news. Chimps in captivity can live up to 60 years. They're social animals, and Gishue's acceptance into the family group means he'll have a much better quality of life. The Colobus monkeys have been in their enclosures now for 3 weeks and have adjusted well. Batian is ready for part 2 of the experiment.
It's D-Day for the Colobus. They've now been in 3 weeks. We've decided, right, let's let them out. We're literally going to open the door and let them out and see how they do. Whether it's 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months. To be honest, I don't think it's going to make much difference. If they want to come back for their food in there, they'll come back.
Ol Pejeta has started by releasing just 3 Colobus monkeys back into the same area where their forebears used to be plentiful. It's a tiny group, but what these 3 monkeys do will affect the ecology of the area. If they can survive, they will be followed by more of their species in the hopes that they will return and flourish at Ol Pejeta.
They shouldn't go far, but yeah, there is a question mark that hangs over it, so we'll sit back and watch how they do and hope in the evening when it's time to be fed, they realise that box is their safe haven and they come back into that.